All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. Today we're playing a new game. We're playing Han Cluster. If you're familiar with Savage Worlds, Han Cluster is a new sort of space sci-fi setting, futuristic setting, using the Savage Worlds rules and such, with some little tweaks and things that we'll kind of cover. Created by Tracy Sizemore, a friend of our channel. If you watch any of our Holler stuff from a couple of years ago, you saw Tracy. She came on. She ran a couple sessions for us, and also was like just instrumental in that amazing game. It's like my favorite. It's my favorite Savage World setting so far. And so we'll have some links going in the Twitch chat if you're there. If you want to go take a look at the backer kit's going live, I think in March, though. If Tracy's in the chat, she can confirm. And if you're listening to this or watching this later, just check the descriptions and things like that. We'll all have links to everything. So that's how we're going. Now, before we get started, I want to give a special little shout out to Long, because Long, unlike everybody else, really went the extra mile here. And just look at him. Look what he did. Long, you said you ordered some of that stuff?
Yeah, it's a silly little aviator hat with some neon goggles.
Yeah. So Long,
lovely,
looks amazing. So if you're listening to this later on podcast, just go to the YouTube channel really fast and just take a look at Long. It looks amazing. And Long, for your dedication, right off the bat, I'm going to give you an extra Benny.
Let's go.
To play with for tonight's session. So there you go. There you go. I'm sorry. Are you complaining, Steven? I'm going to take a Benny from you.
No, I wasn't complaining.
Oh, there we go. Anyway, no, it's pretty amazing. I think it's great. It looks awesome. Okay, so what do we want to do? What do we want to talk about first? Let's talk about setting. So 27th century. I think the game year is 2653. The jump starts out. You can kind of get some flavor in terms of it, but basically, there's sort of two big locations, two human civilizations. There's Earth, as it is in the future, and then there's the Han Cluster, which is just kind of this collection of planets, new planets, moons, etc. And they've been separated by distance in a couple hundred years, etc. And we're like focusing most of our play, obviously, around Han Cluster, since the name. There's a couple other things that are interesting that sort of set this system and setting apart. One is the discovery of a phenomenon known as the Nex, which is kind of like a sort of like an extra layer of existence or something like that, kind of, which effectively has gifted like humans and various linked machines, all these different transhuman abilities. So it allows them to kind of communicate with other people. It allows them to like actually separate themselves from their physical body, so they have like a blue ghost. If you look at Melissa's background right there, you can see what one of those blue ghosts kind of look like. And you can do stuff with them. It's like semi-corporeal. It's not like a pure like it still can't like go through walls or anything like that. But you can do stuff with it. You can fight with it. You can interact with the world. All that kind of good stuff. And there's also like special types of weapons that you can use that actually targets and is sort of next-based, next-powered, etc. There's also the ability for folks who are X-bonded, which is what all of you will be. And by default, I think most of the play suggestion is like the crew or the group of a game is either going to be X-bonded at the start, maybe of an adventure or campaign, or very soon after the start, right? And what that does is it allows you all to have a telepathic connection to one another. So you can communicate at ridiculously vast distances. It is two-way, so Steven can't just suddenly intrude. You have to accept the call, basically. You can't just, you can take a look at like, sounds like Steven. I'm busy right now. Or
I would never like just shoe in on someone else's moment. That's not me.
That sounds exactly like you. It's like pitch perfect you. And the other thing it lets you do is it lets you literally what's called ghost travel, which you can kind of manifest your ghost next to the ghost of one of your ex-bonded friends, and that mechanically allows you kind of like you can split the party but still have the party together at the same time. So it's kind of a fun little wrinkle. And then there's other things like if you know Savage Worlds, like you know that there's powers and stuff like that. And so like the Nex also gives you like some Nex powers and things like that as well. So lots of fun stuff. So what I figured let's do first before we get started, let's do a quick roundtable, who you're playing, where you are playing with the archetypes, the sort of from the Jumpstart Reunification, with some tweaks. People have kind of made them their own, changed their names, maybe the description or two. But ultimately, mechanically, they're all pretty in tune with what you'll see. So let's just go by the overlay. Ashley, tell us who you're playing and, you know, an interesting thing or two about like what your character does.
So I'm Birdie Miller, and she is a courtesan who is a linked machine. So she was clubbing and suddenly woke up, and she just was concerned about, why am I here? And what am I doing? What's the point of this? And she's sort of continuing to look for a better future for everyone and find out what she wants to do with herself.
Fantastic. Is there anything like you're particularly good at, like an edge or a hindrance that you might have that you want to share with us?
So I have a hindrance that's fun, is that I'm a heroic in it's a major hindrance where I never say no to a person in need, be that, you know, AI or human. If they can't help themselves, I feel like it's my job to step in and help them. And
there's also that fun quirk, the fun quirk you have.
And I'm looking for love.
Yeah,
this is a minor quirk. You know, I just want to see if I can find a connection.
You also have like the Next Diver background, which is one of the new arcane backgrounds that you can find in Han Cluster, which allows you to basically, it's like a spellcaster, like if you want to think about it in those terms, right? So you do have access to some. And if you hopefully look through your tabs, you should have 3 powers that are available to you to mess around with, including one that is new to the setting. The other 2, Empathy and Entangle, I think are existing, but Disguise X-Ghost. So maybe at some point in our sessions, you'll have to give that a try so we can test that out. All right, awesome. Melissa, tell us a little about who you're playing.
Yeah, so I'm playing Ray and Nora. So I am a neo-Nexus monk. So like, just Nex is just so cool, and just like studying it and like figuring out like, you know, like where to come from and like what do we do with it. So I have a code of honor. So my word is my bond. And also I give away my money because like what is even wealth? Wealth is in the relationships that you have with your friends. So I respect living things, and I can like, I'm a warrior. So I'm like pretty good at fighting with like my fists, and I can get some cool powers too.
Okay. Yeah, you do also have some powers, don't you? I think all of yours are original stuff.
I have detect or conceal arcana. So like that's some kind of cool stuff that I can do, and I can do some protection, and I can do some relief. So
nice. Awesome. Cool. Are you doing a kind of Reese impression? That's what she's doing, right? Like we're all agreeing.
That's what I'm hearing.
This is what she's doing.
That's what I'm hearing.
I'm here for it. This is fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Excellent. Let's see who's next. Maitre, who are you playing?
I am playing Arushi Varma. She, her next technician, and I really appreciate this description. Of course I can fix it. Just stop shouting at me and get out of my way. And which I think ties into the hindrance for really well, which is stubborn. It only took you 55 years and the death of your daughter to get you to leave tract and find something better.
Very nice.
So I'm pretty sick to play Arushi.
You also have very bad luck, which means
I do. You took my Benny and gave it to Long. That's what it is.
Okay. I think there's 2 people. I think Birdie, does Birdie get an extra one too?
I am lucky, so I get it.
I am bad luck.
Yeah, you're lucky, so you're bad luck, and Long, she's dedicated.
See, I'm trying to get lucky, so I need that extra bennies.
There you go.
To get there.
That's well said. That's well said. If I hadn't already given out a Benny to Long, I would give one out for that. but let's not go crazy.
Long
We
gets
don't want the
it.
economy to get like a little overloaded there.
What is
Okay.
wealth, as Ray would say?
What
Oh,
even is it
goodness.
worth?
All right, let's go to our A+ star people. Long, who are you playing? Tell us a little bit about him.
I'm pilot Reese Morgan, citizen of Edenic. And I'm pretty much a ribless explorer, traveling the stars, usually in my birthday suit whenever I can. And I'm overconfident in my abilities.
Except
So there's
for
no
the
obstacle.
hat, I
That's
feel
true.
like.
Yeah, just the hat. I just wear only the hat.
Hat
Yeah, just
stays
the hat.
on.
Just the hat.
Yeah.
That's the quirk. That's his quirk. He's a nudist.
No
So
one
funny.
else will sit in that cockpit.
No
That
one
seat is
at
only
all.
for him.
Not even in your ghost form. Like, no, that's his seat. You just lay a towel down first. What I found hilarious, well, I'm not sure if you saw this in your gear, but in your gear, you have a nudist towel.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like a
Yeah.
self-cleaning towel, high tech.
Yeah, it's not just like a towel. It's like literally self-cleaning, self-sanitizing. It's fantastic. Like, that's hilarious. That cracked me up so hard when I read that. All right, man. That's phenomenal. Okay. Then finally, Steven, tell us about who you're playing.
Yes, I am playing Dr. Sonnet. I do have a first name. I will not be using it. You can refer to me as Doctor or Dr. Sonnet. Both are fine. I am an Earthling. I'm displaced. I spent most of my life on Earth, and now I'm on Edenic. But I am a soldier as well. I was a scientist for the military. So I've got that code of honor still. And there's I don't know if it was meant to be a play on words, but I do appreciate it for my code of honor. Being an honorable soldier remains my calling, and I try to be a straight shooter. So I feel like honorable soldier, straight shooter. Yeah. And then there's something there.
Very nice. Okay, man. So everyone's gonna call you, like, we're all gonna call him like Sonny or something, right? Like, isn't that what we're gonna
Oh,
do?
for
Totally.
sure.
Just
Totally.
a really
Dr.
irritating-
Sonny.
Dr. Sonny. Oh, God.
That word is stricken from our vocabulary.
Okay. All right. One last thing, and then we're going to get going just a little bit, just for us to personalize our play a little bit more. You all know each other. You're friends. You've been working with each other for a while. You all have a ship. Technically, it's Reese's ship. Reese is flying it, but it's going to be all of our ships. And I would like a name for the ship. So I'm soliciting names. What do we think we're going to call it? Ideas.
Oh dear. Oh
Dear. That's
We
one
going-
option.
Are we going
Any
for
others?
something like hopeful
Nudist
or
beach.
Nudist beach. Anything else? Oh, God. I shouldn't have asked this question. Other options. No bad ideas. Just ideas that aren't as good as others. That's all.
Let's see.
Reese's
I should've thought about
Pieces.
this one.
Reese's
Oh, I love
Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
That's pretty good.
That leaves me concerned. Like, the ship is not supposed to be in pieces.
Showing everyone his pieces.
All right. Are we going Reese's Pieces, or do we have another idea?
I
There's too
feel
much
like
silence.
we need a joke about Hot Pockets, but I can't seem to get
Oh,
that.
gosh.
We do the Hot Pocket stuff way too much. We do that. So we would do that. We've had the Hot Pocket. We've had the Cleety Sidem. It's a channel joke. It's a channel
There's
joke.
no bad
Okay.
idea. There's no bad idea. No, not that one. We're not doing that one.
It's not. I said it's not that it's a bad idea. It's just not as good as other
It's
ideas.
not as
Yeah.
good as
How about-
Reese's Pieces.
How about just should we go super on the nose and just call the ship Hope?
Oh, look at you.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. That's so earnest.
I love
like-
it.
We could
Or
tweak
we-
it to like
Very
New
sweet.
Hope, because there was Hope's Break, and now we're the New Hope.
Well, if we did do Hope, I feel like we're like
That's
infringing on Star
a
Wars
little
now.
like
so-
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Take that back. Take that back.
Ashley probably didn't watch Star Wars, so
Okay. How about old Hope? It's called the Old Hope. All right, there we go. The Old Hope. That's the name of your
The
ship.
old
Oh,
Hope.
I
There
love
we
it.
go. We got it. Okay. Second question. So like you guys have X bonding. So X bonding is when it's a sort of an intimate it's an intimate connection you have to other people. So it could be relationships. Like Melissa's character, we're gonna realize soon has a niece. I think we said that you're going to be X bonded to, but
Yep.
you're also X bonded to each other. And you're specifically X bonded to your niece because of the close relationship you have as a family member. But It's a kind of mysterious thing. It's not entirely clear all the time exactly how these things form. One of the ways they could form is after some kind of very traumatic or very important moment that you all like, that shared experience. What do we think that might be for you all? Where do we think that this kind of manifested from? No bad ideas.
If I can take a stab at it, I would say like we all got trapped together.
Okay.
And so that was sort of we had to spend a good long amount of time fighting for our lives and together, and that was sort of what did it. Okay.
So we just try. Maybe we tie it together. We say you got trapped together, maybe on planet station. We don't have to be too specific, obviously. And maybe it's somehow connected to the Old Hope. Like maybe that's like the ship you escaped on or something like that. And like through that all together allowed you to kind of create your little makeshift family crew here.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. I like it.
Like a space version of Poseidon.
Okay. And then last question. What was your last job? What was the last thing you guys did together? What did you do?
We're pretty good people overall.
Yes.
So
Overall.
we probably weren't like smuggling or stealing or anything like that.
No. I mean, smuggling, if you're like smuggling stuff to like medical supplies to people who need it or something like that, but no, not necessarily. Like you're not ne'er-do-wells. Because even like the Serenity, they did good things, even though they were smuggling.
I would say that we did something like like first aid mission or something like that. Doctor,
like
monk, Courtesan has very high empathy. In Reese just likes hanging out with his balls out. It seems like we're all like
basically
trying to help each other,
right?
Yeah, we went somewhere with high tensions that we needed to like be diplomatic about it and help the indigenous population.
Okay,
I like
it could have been on Planet Track to where like Earth refugees sometimes go to when they need help.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so you're helping out. You're doing some sort of like diplomatic and first aid work on track with like some Earth refugees. I think that makes a lot of sense. That's great.
Yeah, that's where Oshi's from as well. So that's great.
Perfect. Okay. Well, with that out of the way, are you guys ready? Are you ready to play? Ready to do this? Let's get a little music going. Okay. So, we're gonna start off with you all having again recently finished this diplomatic mission, this first aid mission, this refugee mission, and it was a trying job. Like it was trying both like physically and sort of mentally, emotionally, etc. And you all have probably been working a lot. Like you have the ship, you've been moving about, you've been finding odd jobs here and there, helping people where you can, and there just comes a time, though, even for people of your own ilk, even for people who have the ability to sort of ghost travel different places, that you just kind of need a break, right? You just kind of need to get a breather. And you all decided that for a little while, maybe for like a week or so or 2 weeks, something like that, you're going to have a little bit of a vacation. And so you've all decided that it's time to take a break. And it doesn't mean you're all like spreading and going in different directions. Like some of you are sticking together, or some of you are gonna, you have plans that you want to kind of follow through on. But everyone has kind of gone off in different directions. The gift of the X Bond allows you all to still communicate with each other anytime you need to, and also allows you, if the need arises, to, ghost travel and join somebody else should that need arise as well. So we're going to start as we kind of see like the screen fade in. We see like the sort of the verdant green and blue planet of Edenic kind of come into our view, just coming up from the bottom of the screen. And not only that, we see this as we get kind of closer to it, we see this like shimmering orbital tether that seems to come up from the planet itself. This and it just sort of weaving up through the atmosphere into low orbit. We see it kind of connect to what looks like a series of these massive ships. You all would know that Edenic is home to a museum, this Hope Expedition Museum, where the one or two of the colony ships, the very first colony ships that headed out to the Han cluster, have been repurposed as kind of these orbital museums. And we can see that there they are in this sort of geosynchronous orbit, just sort of floating over this beautiful planet. And we can see the shimmering tethers of the elevator. And as we start to descend kind of down the elevator a bit, we see the capsule itself. This it's steadily moving, barely up off the ground, hasn't traveled too far. We can see there are a series of like reinforced viewing ports here and there if people wanted to watch it. We come inside. And there's like outward spiral seating that kind of is almost tethered, almost tiered in such a way so that if people want to see the travel, they can. There's standing parts here and there for when it's just kind of in the mid part of the travel, not necessarily landing or decoupling. You can see all sorts of monitoring panels and consoles, a bunch of excitable folk. We see a woman in kind of a gray and blue like outfit. You can tell it's a uniform. And like she has this little sort of digitally glowing display. It says Isabel on it. And she is currently like checking in with various passengers and making sure everyone's doing okay. She's a tour guide. She's kind of escorting people up the elevator to the museum. And two of the passengers are two people that we would recognize. We see Birdie and we see Arushi, both of whom you were able to score rare tickets to this museum. They're hard to come by. And it was perfect timing for you because it allows you to come here in your physical form. And you're able, the two of you only had two, unfortunately. So let's focus on Birdie. So Ashley, as we see this capsule, it's just a bit off the surface. It hasn't quite gotten to space yet. It's going to take about half an hour, 45 minutes or so to sort of do its rise. But it's really just beginning to ascend and the speed is beginning to go. What does Birdie look like? What is she doing? And how did you score these tickets, do you think?
So Birdie actually scored these tickets because there was this competition at this club that she tends to frequent, and it's just dance until you can't dance anymore, and whoever's the last one standing would win the tickets. Okay. And Birdie loves to dance. That's what one of her favorite things to do. And luckily she managed to beat everyone else out relatively quickly. She's not sure if that's because of her AI background more than anything, or if that's just because of her enthusiasm for dance. But that's what she was able to do. And she's an average height woman. She's got this like hot pink velvet crop top that she wears, and then this black jacket that's also cropped, and then these intense, combat boots. And her hair's up in a ponytail. She's got dark brown hair, and she likes to clip in these streaks of different colored hair depending on her mood. She doesn't have one in today, but normally she has like hot pink or hot blue. And she's busy making sure if there's any children in traveling with us to the museum, that they have a good view of the window as we're going up. And she's like reciting any facts that she knows about the museum to like get them excited to be here with her, just as excited as she is.
I like it. Yeah, well, we can definitely say there's probably a couple children being accompanied, obviously, by like parents or guardians of some kind. And once like the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off and people are allowed to get up and start moving around to some of these viewing ports, you can see that these kids are like hopping up and hopping up and hopping up, and they can barely get their heads over, and they want to see down because that's where the planet is, and so they want to see that as it kind of grows up and up, because right now they look out and they just see like blue sky.
Yeah.
So yeah, you come over and like you're able to give them a little boost here or there, and you can see like the tourist guide with the shiny Isabel badge comes over, and she kind of helps you with it, and like she listens to you spout a few basic details about like where you're going, and you can tell like she's very excited and that she appreciates the fact that somebody has been listening to her during the whole ramp up process as she's been going over all, and you can tell she's genuinely excited. Okay. Off to the side, then we see Arushi. What does Arushi look like, first of all? So we'll say that. And how are you handling the ascent? Like it was kind of a rough little like jerky thing. It's different riding in a space elevator than it is riding, up and down in a starship, probably. Like there's probably a different vibe to it. So how is Arushi handling the ascent, and what is she doing on the ride up?
So what Arushi looks like first is she is a older brown woman, like mid-50s, dark brown skin, gray add to her temples, and black hair otherwise put back into sort of this loose braid. She's about 5'8", 5'9". She's a lightly muscled body, small gut, not really the kind of look of someone who goes to the gym at all, but like someone who's a little older who's like been physical with their body their whole lives. Like that's kind of what she looks like. And she's got this old, almost ratty light blue t-shirt on that says Porso University Athletics on it. And she's kind of like white knuckling the handles of the seat she's on because of the rocky ascent, and her mind instantly is going to all the things that could be wrong with this elevator. And so she is trying very hard to not look panicked, and I'm sure doing a terrible job of it. But she's trying to recenter and focus on Birdie's excitement and Isabella's excitement.
I'm gonna say there's like an older man sitting across from you. We'll say it's an older couple, like a man, and like this is definitely like a bucket list kind of item, probably. And he kind of looks over at you and he sees like the white knuckling variety of this going on, and he's like, and he kind of points to your shirt and he's like, you play?
No, my daughter used to be a professor.
Oh yeah. Well, what does she teach?
Well, she used to teach symbolism, and literature and that kind of thing.
No, that's real nice. And what is it you do?
Oh, and she holds up her wrist with a gold watch, kind of like a futuristic cyber equivalent for gold watch. And she's like, well, I was with Caustic Robotics about 20 years. I just retired, and I'm sure my daughter would tell me about like all the symbolism about getting a watch because she was really smart like that. But you want to see a picture? And without waiting to see if he says yes, she pulls out this heart locket and opens it up, and there's like her about 15, 20 years younger. There's a woman about her age, and there's a very annoyed looking teenager. And on the other side of the locket is that teenager looking 15 years older. And she's like, that's Indra and that's Janaki. And Janaki was always telling me how I had to get off track, and there was life off track, and so now I'm here. But this elevator is anyway. Sorry. How are you doing?
And he just looks at it, and he's like, beautiful family, like how that's wonderful. And like he starts going into his own story of his own children, and then his wife sitting next to him kind of pulls out some little kind of hot like their data pad and just starts flipping through it. And like it's definitely like a bulkier, older model of data pad. And so when they're flipping through it, they're just showing you this and that. Amazing. But all the while, as the two of you are talking, like everything starts to settle. That initial opening, like rough parts of the takeoff have kind of calmed, and like maybe in the back of your mind you realize he was just sort of distracting you in those opening moments from like the craziness as everything has now sort of settled. And it's around this time as like the three of you are sharing photos and things like that, and more than likely they have caught the verb that you were using, but you can tell that they're hesitant to probably ask further questions. And right as it looks like they're about to maybe like dig a little deeper, you hear the voice of Isabel, your tour guide, kind of start speaking up, and like she hits a little button. There's a small little sound, and you can see these lights kind of flickering around that suggest everyone kind of pay attention to her, where she's now standing on this like small dais, like at one side of this orbital platform, or excuse me, one side of this capsule, I should say. And she kind of starts going through what looks to be a very rehearsed and very like this is something she has done 4 or 5 times a day, every day for like 20 years or whatever, 10 years, something like that. But she still seems like very excited. And she's occasionally like pointing out the window up towards like little things that you can see outside, but also like there's a display inside where like you'll see like the construction of like the space elevator and progress here and there, how like the ships were kind of moved in the geosynchronous orbit. And so she just goes through and she's like, the Hope Expedition Museum planetside has various Earth artifacts and historical items, but the jewel of our unique tour is in orbit just a few miles above us. Maybe a few less now. And she waits, and no one laughs.
Birdie laughs. She's the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this little laughter comes in, and everyone kind of looks at you. Like, really? Like we're taking the famous Novus space elevator to the Thora, one of the actual colony ships from the Hope Expedition that's in synchronous orbit around Edenic. Our journey will take approximately 30 more minutes. And then she like points up at something in the corner, and you see like a timer appear, and like it's kind of counting down. When we arrive, we'll tour the bridge. We'll get a look at the massive common area, the living spaces, and we'll even, and she like looks down at the children, we'll even get a peek at one of the largest Christum drive housings ever built. Though the Christum has been removed, of course. She looks like over at the parents, who suddenly got a little freaked out by that. And of course, you can visit our amazing Nexarium, where your sleeper can recline in a very comfortable chair while you enter into a virtual Nex simulation created by the famous Nex architect Liberator before he disappeared, of course. Now, you'll experience what it might have been like to be one of the first brave colonists setting out on that pioneering journey from Earth. I just get chills thinking about it. And she's looking around to seeing if anyone else is getting chills. And she locks eyes with Birdie, because it looks like Birdie is getting chills. And the two of you have like a moment, right?
We have that like, this is history, so cool.
And you see her, she starts like cycling around. She starts asking questions like of like different people, like what brings you here? What are you looking to find? You know, that kind of stuff. So a lot of these like different questions, she's just like gleefully and very joyfully answering. Do either of you ask her any questions? No is a perfectly fine answer. Don't feel obligated. But as she just sort of cycles about, okay. At a certain point though, I'll say Birdie probably more than Arushi, but Arushi, you're welcome to say you notice this as well. But Birdie, maybe you are talking to her and like you're like she's kind of answering some questions the kids have, like really basic things. And one moment, please. And you see her like kind of step off to the side, and she holds like instinctively kind of holds a finger up to her ear, and she says, "Yes, sir. Yes. Everything is great here. Yes." We're just taking the last group up for the day. Really? Again? That's the second time this week. Huh. Well, that's strange. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, keep me posted. Thank you, sir. And then she, at this point, just basically steps back and is just, Birdie, give me a notice test.
Okay.
See, like, yeah, first time. So this is the first time you've rolled. So if you're unfamiliar with Savage Rolls.
Yes.
So if you're unfamiliar with Savage Rolls, it uses every one of your rolls, since you all are players, wildcards, etc. You're going to roll 2 dice. One die is going to be the trait, so it's could be the skill, in this case notice, or in some cases it could be an attribute like agility or whatever, if I ever call for that. Then you roll a wild die on top of it, which is a d6. Now you're not adding them together, you're basically just rolling them separate, and you want one of those dice to hit 4 in this case, and if it hits 4 you succeed. And then there's ways to get raises if you go 4 over the roll and everything. Okay. And also, this is a game with exploding dice where you can ace, which Ashley just did. In fact,
I did.
Is one of her dice.
Yes.
Aced. If you roll the max on a die, you can roll that die again, and it and then like you just add that to what you would previously roll. So in this case, actually, you ended up rolling a 10 on a d6 because your 6 exploded. Then you got the 4.
That's awesome.
You notice that. Yeah, so you notice that she looks very confused, and like there are a couple times where she just like quickly and very almost like, not like she's trying to hide it, but just she's trying not to like get it near the kids who are still hopping and down and kind of doing these little things. She's just sort of reading and then kind of putting it away, and like she has a very confused look on her face. Is basically what's happening. She doesn't look worried, just like perplexed in some way. Like she's like trying to figure something out.
Is there anything I can help you with, Isabel?
Oh, no. No. And I'm going to say, because like you've already established a rapport and like you did so well in the notice roll, like I'm going to say that you the two of you seem to have a little bit of a connection already. But you see her, she just like kind of lean, like asks you to lean a little bit closer, and so the waving is, well, some of the museum's military, the orbital security we have, they've been getting reassigned over the past few days. They were security drills that they had to participate. It's really certainly normal, but the frequency is a little bit unusual. That's just a little just odd. That's all.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. Everything's fine.
Oh, okay. No worries. Well, if there's anything that I can help with, like if we need to
Wonderful.
do anything, I'm more than happy to help.
Oh, that's so very kind of you. Thank you so much. And she like one of the kids makes a sound, like points, and you can see like there's now like blinking lights you can see, and then she turns back to the crowd, and she begins like to launch into the next phase of her speech as she like points up to the lights that are getting closer. And we're gonna fade.
She
out of
leans
that
over Birdie. Is everything okay? Do I did need help with the elevator? I can help with the elevator.
Yeah, and when Isabel's attention isn't on us, she'll relay like what essentially she told her.
Okay. But we're going to fade out of that scene. We're going to introduce some of the other players as we're going to focus this time as we like kind of just fade out. We see the elevator get smaller and smaller, and then we're kind of like turning around into space. And then when we settle in on something new, this time we see a ship, a like very blocky, boxy like kind of patchwork ship. You can see there's like scorch marks here and there. You can see it's very utilitarian, this kind of big chunky like not very impressive looking transport, and we can see the logo for Trekker Starline, and then we can see like underneath it they're in this like really basic kind of printing. It says cluster bus number 3, and as we move inside of it, we can see that it is not this is public transport. It is not particularly high end. You can see that there's all sorts of. It's very crowded inside. There's quite a bit of people trying to travel. There's all these different berths here and there, but they're all kind of crowded together. Very small in terms of like common rooms, and where there are like there's not a whole lot to it. People complaining about the food. And as we kind of zoom in on like one of these berths, we see Ray. So Melissa, why don't you tell us what Ray looks like, what Ray's doing maybe inside of this transport ship right now, as you, I will tell you, are en route to Onyx to pay your niece Mandy a visit. It's apparently her 14th birthday, and this is the perfect time to actually go see her.
Excellent. So Ray is going to be kind of standing kind of off to the side a bit. Kind of when you look at her, she's got kind of brownish auburn hair in a pixie cut. Her clothing kind of starts out as sort of kind of well-fitting, but sort of it's long sleeves that sort of flare out, and it's kind of mid-length. You almost think that it's a skirt, but kind of if she shifts her weight a little bit, you realize that it's more sort of like culottes or flares. And she's got, kind of very like kind of thin, kind of flat shoes that she's wearing. And if you kind of pay attention close enough, you'd see that she is almost imperceptibly sort of going through like almost a kind of meditation. That you sort of see her making sort of very subtle movements, as she sort of like shifts her weight a little bit, kind of closes her eyes, opens her eyes, and kind of almost ever so quietly is almost kind of like saying something to herself. So she's definitely kind of doing her own thing kind of during this travel time.
Okay. And it's probably good that you are so mentally focused, as you have several travelers around you, many of whom have tried to strike up a conversation with you, but that conversation usually revolves around the lack of quality in-flight entertainment and quality in-flight refreshments, and the size of the berths and the capacity of the berths, and the body odor of some of the people who are traveling in here seems to be, and the captain seems kind of overwhelmed and has kind of locked away herself in the cockpit, refusing to answer the concerns. It's just a lot of complaining, and so all of this is kind of bombarding you. You're centered, and then a voice does get through, and you recognize this voice as you hear like a Draxel connection, kind of pop up. And maybe it's because you know who this is that it kind of goes through even more simply, or maybe it's just something you instinctively answer. Draxel, for sort of terminology, it's just a way of communicating when you're not expanded. So there's these big Draxel relays. There's these two ones, like one here in the Han cluster, one closer to Earth, and it's kind of what these things can funnel through. So you hear, Henri, you there? And you recognize the voice of your niece, Mandy, kind of pushing through the cacophony of the transport ship. Right?
Yes. Yeah, Mandy.
Hi. Is Birdie with you?
No. Remember, Birdie and Arushi? They had like tickets to like a really cool show, but they gave me gifts to give to you, so don't worry. Like they didn't forget it was your birthday, and I've got gifts from all of us.
I'm glad they didn't forget. I think Mom and Dad might have forgot. And you can hear, as you're talking to her, like behind her, there's the sounds of all sorts of things going off. You can like the sounds of various, like not alarms necessarily, but you can hear the sounds of like whistles and bells, and like someone. It's as if she might be like either watching like the holovid, or she might be like at an arcade or something like that. All of this is sort of playing really loud in the back, and you can tell that she's kind of in a public space. She's turning 14, and you can hear the sounds of people kind of cheering as like as some sort of level is achieved, and you kind of start to piece together that she might be like at the Hollow Arcade, like near like where she lives, over on Onyx. And she's like, well, so you said you're bringing me presents. So what are you bringing me? What do you got?
Well, they're presents, so you're not supposed to know what they are until you open them. Patience. We've been working on patience. It's so important to be able to wait.
But, okay. But I'm just kind of bored because you're not here yet, and Mom.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Like they wouldn't have forgotten it was your birthday. That's so important.
I think they did. No. Like this morning, like we were out and we were kind of shopping and stuff, and then we went to the overclocked, and they said I could stay, and they gave me all sorts of credits that I can use to play games, and then they said they had to go run some errands, and that was like 5 minutes after I said, hey, I can't wait till Aunt Ray gets here and we can have my birthday party tonight. And then Mom got this like really horrified look on her face, like, she forgot something. And then they said they had to go run their errands, but they didn't say like earlier that they were going to run errands. So I think that they forgot, and now they're going and they're going to buy me presents now. So and I'm by myself.
That must have been a real bummer.
I mean, it depends. Like, I feel like if I play up the guilt, then they might get me more presents, or they might get me like better presents, maybe. Like, I think I can leverage this.
Well, yeah, I see what you're. I really don't think they would have forgotten. Maybe they're just like playing it up because they've got like a surprise planned, and maybe it's going to be like.
Oh, so you're saying I'm getting a surprise party?
I don't know.
And she's like, I'm getting a surprise party, am I? I'm getting a surprise party. Oh my god! So Birdie is coming.
Options.
And it's at that point, Ray, that you hear the sounds in the background, which initially sound like these like these like score sounds, like in the middle of a holler arcade, when you can hear somebody has just like achieved a new high score, or someone had just like fouled out, or like they lost a life, and then we moved on to another, and you can tell that she was like walking past these like different like VR cabinets and things like that. Things get a little different, and like that kind of gets drowned out. You hear this kind of alarm, like zzz, 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 go off, and at first like maybe you didn't notice it, but then it kind of keeps going, and then you hear like a voice that is coming on after it. Give me a notice test.
Okay, notice.
Yeah. And so again, difficulty is only 4. Most of the time, the difficulty is only 4. In combat, things will be different because you're doing melee, your parry rolls.
Look at us exploding stuff. All right, I got a 5.
Okay, that's all you need. Okay, perfect. You as you're like trying to like suppress the noise of the transport people who are complaining, and you're trying to sort of listen past but not completely ignore your niece, and you're trying to listen beyond the sounds of the various games doing their different soundtracks. You do hear of like this voice come through on after like the zzz, 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 and you hear, all citizens of Lumosity, we are in a state of global emergency. Please proceed to your designated shelters immediately. Those who need assistance, please wait outside your residences for an officer to assist you. Repeating. And then it goes again and again. And then as you keep like focusing on that, you realize the foreground of the noise, so to speak. Mandy is trying to recite, Ray, are you there? Hello?
Mandy, what's going on?
I don't know. It's like everyone's going crazy down here. Like, there's like this alarm, and like people are kind of like, everyone's panicking. Like, Mandy, some lady just
where should you go? What did the instructions say?
I don't. They said I gotta go to the. Oh my god! Ray, there's like people in the street. Oh my god! Someone just. And then the Draxel gets cut off, which is a very surprising thing, considering that Draxel communication is extremely reliable. But we're going to cut from there for a second.
Okay.
So we have 2 more people. We'll come back. Don't worry. We have 2 more people that we're going to touch base with. As we're going to touch base with Dr. Sonnet and Reese. And this time around, as we kind of fade out, or like quick cut, we'll say, from Ray, we see this ship. We see your ship. So Long and Steven, like, do you think the Old Hope is what do you think it looks like? Is it a good looking ship? Is it sleek? What are we thinking?
It's relatively like budget. Best ship I could get with the lowest budget.
Living up to the name Old.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely like, it's not like terrible, but it's definitely
It's
a
maintained,
Toyota Corolla. Yeah.
But it's maybe a couple decades past the current model.
It's like a 2004 Honda Civic, like it'll still run.
Yeah, it gets you from A to B reliably.
Yeah. Okay. So we see the Old Hope is flying through space a bit. You guys are on your way. You're basically on your way to what's it called? The Lutz Hub space station. You guys have been in flight effectively as you've been kind of traveling from Onyx, which is where Arushi and Birdie are, and Onyx. Like, you're a couple days in between them, and you're on approach to the Lutz Hub space station, which is essentially in orbit or near to the dead planet Nebuchadnezzar, right? Like, that's kind of about where we find ourselves. And like, one of the reasons that you're headed there is, first, refuel, rest, etc., but also like the berths, because your ship is not the most top of the line. The berths are probably pretty tight. It's probably fairly uncomfortable, so you can probably get a room or something like that for a couple of days at the station. And plus, you can get some real food, because the food that you guys get, whatever kind of like nutrient paste dispenser that you have on the Old Hope, is probably it's probably not the tastiest. It's probably not the tastiest. So let's start with Reese. Reese, tell us, what do you look like, and what are you doing on the ship as we kind of zoom in on you?
Pretty average man, toned body, tan skin, as Endemic people are.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some black spiky hair, and I've got the ship in autopilot, my feet kicked up on the dash, pre-gaming some mimosas. This is cockpit to Sunny D. We're almost at arrival.
You send out that to Sunny D, like the dock. Is that you send out? So it's just like this broadcast in the ship.
Sunny D.
Sunny D.
I love
Sunny
that
D.
so much.
God dang it, Long. You can have another Benny.
Oh, I'm farming.
You were just on fire tonight. That's so good. So, Sunny D, where are you when that internal communication pops in? What do you look like? What are you doing? That kind of thing.
Our ship is big enough for like 5 people on it, right?
It's big enough for 5 people. We'll say, we don't have to get into the specifics of it. I would say it's probably not a place you're going to want to live in very frequently. Like, think of it more like Winnebago style. Like, you can travel in it, but you certainly.
Right, so I'm imagining I'm like right behind him in the seat, then like doing some calibrations and.
Okay. So Reese does a full ship communication, and you're just sitting behind him.
Yeah. Like, if we're thinking like Millennium Falcon cockpit, I'm in the back seat, like messing with one of the computers.
Okay. All right. And what is it you're doing on the computer?
I'm in the middle of some calibrations. Can it wait a bit? I'm sorry, I had to make the Mass Effect reference, but I got to know my audience here. Jeff's the only one who might have caught it. I'm really just taking up readings from everything, just collecting data. I'm a scientist, so I enjoy reading data as we're traveling through things. Okay. Even though like we've been in this like system for 300 years, there's still so much data that can be collected from going through space.
Okay, well, since you're at a terminal here on the bridge, you notice as you're looking down, as you maybe like quickly jump from the sudden blaring of the internal comms saying something that you just heard like half a second sooner. It's got this weird echo quality to it. You notice that there is a kind of an indicator light on one of your panels that looks to be like there's a broadcast signal that's trying to like get into your ship that Reese seems to have muted. Like, he's like muted comms or whatever it might be, and like you can see it's like it's flashing, like someone's trying to communicate with you.
I'll flick it on.
You flick it on, and you hear what sounds like a very stern voice. Attention, this is the Edenic Security Force at Nebuchadnezzar, Major Stefan Grendel commanding. Lutz Hub space station is currently closed to civilian traffic. Any attempt to approach planet Nebuchadnezzar will be met with immediate lethal force. Reroute all traffic to Arcadium Orbital Space Station at Edenic or Tropics Spaceport on Shaste. Repeat, do not approach Nebuchadnezzar for any reason. Any attempted approach will be interpreted as a hostile action.
Reese, this was quite important comm to have muted here.
Well, we're almost there. We're running out of food. We gotta turn back now?
We have to turn back now. We're not going to be able to fight our way onto the system.
I know a back route. I've traveled this route many times.
We're in space. They just... There's
Who
no
knows
back
us? We're like a
route.
rock in the sky.
It goes off again. Attention, this is the Edenic security force at Nebuchadnezzar. Major Stefan Grendel commanding, and kind of keep going through it again. And like you hear the whole response, like you're not sure if it's more forceful or not, but it kind of comes across almost as more forceful. Dr. Sonnet. Go ahead, Sunny D.
Flip on the mic to like communicate back.
Okay.
Copy that. This is Dr. Sonnet on the Old Hope. We are having some navigation difficulties. I flip off the microphone because you're not navigating. Flip it back on. We are attempting to reroute, but is there any way we could make an emergency landing for supplies?
Any attempted approach will be interpreted as a hostile action. And then Dr. Sonnet, Sunny D. I love that. That's so good. Sunny D.
So good.
As you're kind of flipping your signal on and off, like you're noticing like there's something a little bit there's something odd about that, like the signal wave coming through. Give me either an electronics or a science test here. And also, Reese, you're in the cockpit
science.
too. You can communicate and you could potentially do it as well. So it's not like, okay.
Since I was already doing like scientific roles, we'll say that I'm still like looking at the same sort of. That is just barely a success, a 4.
Okay. You notice that there is another signal. It's not necessarily like piggybacking on it. That's not exactly what I mean. But you can definitely tell that despite the fact that there is this like kind of broadband broadcast signal coming from the space station there, you can tell. You can see that there is a second signal that's kind of underneath it, like a weaker signal. It's probably using like older tech. It's very faint. But you can definitely tell like it's almost trying to use the broadcast signal as a way to mask it going out. It's kind of using it as a way to cloak it.
Can I isolate it?
And you rolled a success, right?
Yes. No raises.
Okay. You hear as you sort of attune a little bit, kind of change a couple of your readings. It kind of comes in. You hear like old static, basically like interference, and then like you make a couple more adjustments in it, and eventually you can hear a voice come through. This is Corporal Handy. This is Corporal Handy. This is Corporal Handy, comm specialist from the Grimy Gopher. We are, or we were, a service runner of the trade ship Rassitor. Anyone out there, any friendly out there? The Gopher's gone. It's destroyed. My crew and I, we're prisoners. Some unknown transport near the Draxel Relay, the Nebuchadnezzar Draxel Relay. If anyone's out there, I jury rigged a transmitter in our cell. I don't think they've discovered us yet. Any friendlies receiving this? Listen, we think someone's trying to hack, sabotage, destroy. I don't quite know. They're doing something to the relay. I imagine if you can get this message, you know how big of a threat that is to the cluster. Look, if you can help, he kind of like scratches out again. If you can help respond on this carrier frequency, we can't risk being found. Time's running out. Again, this is Corporal Handy. Oh, and beware, watch out. We think Edenic military forces. We think they got some false signals going out. We think they're in play. We think military's getting some bad orders, or worse. Is anyone out here? Can anyone hear this damn thing? And then it
This
kind
is
of
Reese Morgan of Old Hope to Corporal Handy. We've got your message loud and clear. En route to your last known location.
So you send that out, in a kind of like a hope to sort of send it back. Here's what I want you to do, though, if you could. I want you to first make an electronics roll. You've got this signal coming in, but because there's this other broadcast signal that's coming over top of it, like trying to actually isolate exactly where this is coming from and how to send it back is a little bit more difficult. But because you already kind of received it once, like you can, that'll help you in this particular way. So give me a electronics roll if you can there,
Okay.
Reese.
I've got a D6 in it.
Okay.
Nice.
How exactly am I rolling this?
So yeah, if you're just using our Foundry sheets, because
Click
we're
on
doing
the
the
little
Foundry sheets
red
for this.
icon.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
There it goes.
Ooh,
man,
I think
you
it's
guys are
exploding.
exploding. Look at this. This is
So much
great. I
exploding.
can't wait till we get to the
Nice.
combat and you guys
So
roll the crit
nice.
fails. This is gonna be fun. Okay.
I didn't explode.
Okay. You are able to isolate that the signal that Corporate Handy is shooting out is very, very close to the Nebuchadnezzar Draxel relay satellite. And you guys are approaching. Again, this is the area you're in. You can isolate it. And you can essentially throw a message out and hope that they receive it, right? Because you do hear like the same kind of thing that Sunny D picked up, kind of loop a little bit. You're not sure if it's exactly worded the same, if he's just kind of looping it, or if he's sending out extra ones, but you send it out. Okay. Let's pause for a second, as I want to remind everybody, this is all happening at the same time. All of you are ex-bonded. All of you have the ability to communicate with each other. You're on different parts, different places, different planets, different ships, different stations. You're completely apart from one another. We got Birdie and Arushi taking this just leisurely ride of the space elevator. You go to a museum. Ray, you're heading to Onyx. You just heard some weird stuff going down on Onyx with your niece when her communication breaks off. And then Reese and Dr. Sonnet, Sunny D, as we all know, you two are off by Nebuchadnezzar, by the Draxel satellite. So you guys are completely nowhere near each other, but you remember, you always have the ability to communicate with one another. So, and all of this has effectively happened at the same time. Like this has all been simultaneous. So Reese, you shoot out that message back to Corporal Handy. Dr. Sonnet, you hear that broadcast loop come in. You can kind of mute it, shut it, but you can tell that they are not suddenly stopping their warning. We're going to open it up to everybody. Doesn't matter where you're at. What are we doing? Ray, Reese, Dr. Sonnet, the three of you want to do anything? You guys are kind of on the edge of something right now. But
the doc would like open up that telepathic link and just send out, vacation's over, folks. We got a situation here. Seems that there might be military misdirect, prisoners, hostages. We're going to need to regroup. I'll have information forthwith.
What do you mean? I was just talking to my niece on Onyx, and our communication dropped. That should not have happened. There were alarms and all kinds of things going off, and I should not lose connection with her.
The Drexel relay is apparently being tampered with. That might be the cause of that.
We don't communicate by Draxel.
You all don't. Your niece called you on Draxel because she thought Birdie was going to be with you, but you do have an X-bond with her.
So I should have still been able to. Yeah.
It's like connecting a different way, but you could potentially contact her again. Yeah.
Exactly.
You should try and get a hold of your niece, and while we're up here on the military movements, like we were warned, it's been increasing over here on Endenic or Edenic.
And being redirected.
You guys hear in the
But we weren't
backgrounds of
told
those.
where.
You hear in the background of like Birdie and Arushi when they're communicating, like you hear the sounds of like okay, if everyone could just return to their seats and strap in, we're going to be going ahead and coupling up now with the Thora. We're just a few minutes away from getting to see all the wonderful legends of our forebears, our ancestors, the explorers that came out here and settled the cluster. Now, if everyone could just take a moment and sit down. And like you can see Birdie and Arushi, everyone is starting to take their seats. They're kind of strapping in as like you can feel the difference in like forces as like the elevator leaves out of any kind of atmospheric level and like are kind of in space at this point. And like there's some different things that are kind of showing up in some of the panels now. The kids are getting really excited. And you can tell right as you look out the window, there is the Thora, this massive colony ship that you all are within the next couple of minutes are about to dock with.
Is it Isabel or Isabella?
It's Isabel. Isabel's the name of the.
Okay, thank you. So we're just gonna say kind of to her, Isabel, Birdie and I have just had an emergency come up. We need to get back on ground. Can we just take this elevator back down, or?
Oh no, I'm so sorry. That has to stay here until we're ready to bring the whole crew down. This was the last trip for today, so we won't be going back down until after the tour.
Is there any other way for us to get back on planet?
Well, no, not really. But Arushi, you would know, again, because the setting. You don't need to physically get down on the planet. You have a different way of like getting other places. You just need to find a safe place to put your body while you try to manifest your ghost travel somewhere else. So she's like, no, I'm sorry. But hey, these just imagine the adventure here. We're gonna see how everything works. We're gonna go into the Nexarium. We're gonna travel through the engineering, and we're going to look at the new Crystal Drive or the old Crystal Drive. And then you can see she's getting kind of flustered as you're asking questions that she doesn't really have the answer to. And you can tell that makes her a little nervous.
And Birdie will, take Arushi to our seats so we can sit down and on our X bond, she'll just call out, we need to find a good place to sleep and then just keep us updated.
Is Mandy okay, Ray? Did you hear from Mandy? Is she okay?
I told you I was talking to her, and then we just got disconnected. I should go see if she's okay.
You're responded with her, right? Can you try that way? Can you try and reach her that way?
That's what I'm gonna do, and you guys hopefully you'll come with me. So that's what Ray would want to do. Is Ray would, since she's bonded with Mandy, she would want to find somewhere to get herself in this cluster bus.
Okay.
That seems like an okay place to leave a sleeper.
Well, the cluster bus number 3, as we're calling it, is again, there's these little bursts, like really small bunks. They're not very comfortable, but you can tuck yourself into one. You certainly could. Okay.
So that is what Ray would do. So she would kind of get herself in and kind of try to secure, obviously that she was physically carrying the, gifts and whatnot. Curtain. So she's going to try to get those kind of hidden in kind of the folds of her clothes, and she'll just be kind of leaving her sleeper here unattended and can't bring physical gifts with her.
Okay.
So the ex-ghost is going to attempt to go to where Mandy is.
So as we see Arushi, Birdie strap in, we see the capsule start to go through docking procedures with the Thora. We see Ray strap in. She kind of tucks into the little pocket in her berth where she can sleep if she wants to, and kind of close the curtain. You situate some of the items, your more expensive items, etc. And you close your eyes. You think of Mandy, and we suddenly, almost instantly, just see this shift. And Ray is no longer this, we don't see the full color spectrum of Ray, but instead we see this translucent, blue tinted ghost of Ray that seems to appear in what looks like an arcade. You can see there's all sorts of different games displays and consoles. You can hear the sounds of voices screaming. It sounds almost like a couple pulse pistols or a pulse rifle might be going on, and you look around, you think at first it might just be one of these games, right? But then as your head turns around, you can see out one of the windows, there are people literally racing on the streets, like panicked, and they're running, and some of them have guns and they're like they're carrying things, and you hear the sounds of something crash and like somewhere deeper into the arcade, and like as you look across, like a tree falling over, this extremely tall like VR display machine that has high scores just kind of tips over, and then you can see huddling in one of these arcade cabinets. You can see there's Mandy. She's got her knees like up to her chest. She's 14 today. Kind of her hair is shortcut. You can tell she has like a tight black shirt over top of what looks like a baggier, like white sleeved, long sleeve shirt, I should say. And it has like the name of a band on it. And she's just like, Andre, there's
Mandy,
there's people.
Mandy.
And she's like freaking out a little bit, like, there's someone with a gun. They came in and they ran, and then get down. And she's like motioning to you to get down.
Yeah, and Ray, kind of like looks around and kind of ducks down. I'm so glad I found you. And she kind of reaches out and kind of squeezes her hands.
Okay, and she's like,
are you here with
and she's like breathing like super fast. Like, I can't believe they left me. My mom, my parents. And then I saw someone, and they shot, and then it exploded. And then she's getting like, as she's continuing to kind of hyperventilate, she's getting louder and louder, and you can tell like some of the sounds of the games are starting to like sort of quiet down, and this is threatening to like reveal your position in a way. Give me a
with me. Quiet with me.
Persuasion test, please, to see if you can calm her down.
Okay. I am going to do a persuade check. Clicking over here. Over here.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a fail.
That is a fail.
So that's a 2. You rolled a 2 on both of your dice. Don't forget bennies. You can spend a benny to re-roll.
Yes.
So, and you can do it right in the system. So if those of you who haven't messed around with the system yet, in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see re-roll spending a benny. So just click on that little button and it'll do it automatically.
Absolutely would like to do that.
Okay. There you go.
Better.
Good choice.
4. Okay.
So as you like, maybe like your tone, or maybe she just freaks out a little too much, but then as you kneel down and you quiet, you can see you grab her hands and you start to breathe together. She starts to calm down like that. They're dangerous. I saw they're hurting people. They're panicking. They're hurting people. And so she starts to whisper to you. Meanwhile, Reese, Dr. Sonnet, you're in the bridge of your old hope here. You've turned the volume down on this broadcast signal. The Corporal Handy signal has kind of started to go a little bit quiet now. You've done your best. You think you've relayed it to where it's supposed to go. There's no confirmation, but then again, if it's trying to be stealthy, it might take time to get a confirmation of that. But you are still getting this message threatening that your continued approach is a hostile action. You've heard from Birdie and Arushi and now Ray. You know that Ray has just ghost traveled down to Onyx and is dealing with Mandy. And unless you all tell me otherwise, I'm perfectly fine to say that you guys are having open communication, so that just to keep things loose and simple.
For sure.
So Dr. Sonnet and Reese, like, what are you guys doing now? You definitely get the sense that you guys are in danger, but also you can tell that Ray is a little bit in danger too. What do you guys want to do?
Reese, I'm not much help flying the ship. You got this. And I lean back in my seat, and I would like to ghost towards Ray.
Okay. And now that Ray has manifested next to Mandy, you can essentially daisy chain onto that, so to speak. And we see you lean back, your head just kind of tilts to the side, and then your eyes close. And then as you peel away, we see like the ghost kind of start to peel away and then disappear. And it reappears, manifests right next to Ray. You can see Dr. Sonnet that she is currently she's got her 2 hands, like one on top of the other, and like sandwiched between them are the hands of Ray, who you all have probably met. And they're kind of doing these little breathing, calming down. You hear the sounds of pulse gun fire. You hear the sounds of shouting. You look outside and you see that there's some kind of like public transit bike out there that's literally on fire, and you can see it out the window. You hear the sounds of people shouting, and you can tell that you're in kind of a dangerous situation.
Hey, Mandy, happy birthday. We're going to get this taken care of. You just stay right there with your aunt. And I'd like to like head towards a window and try to just get like a survey of like where the gunfire is coming from, if it looks like it's military or anything like that.
Give me a notice test as you peek out.
I can notice. I've got smarts.
Yeah, you do. You're a freaking scientist.
Okay, that's a success with the 5.
Okay. What you basically see as you look out onto the street is the early stages of what you think is likely like a riot. Like you can definitely tell there's people that are not everyone. It's not like everyone on the street is suddenly like mind controlled into being evil or anything like that. There's some people who are just like running into buildings and like carrying a child or something like that. But you also can tell that there are like people who are fighting over like what looks like these automated transport pods, like that'll kind of get them to where they want to go. You hear the sounds of people shouting something like, and as with your notice test, as you kind of get to the edge of like one of these panels, like you can barely make it out, but there's something about like we're under attack. Like they're shouting about being under attack, like Earth, they're coming, something along those lines. And so there's a lot of panic. And so when people are like fighting over these different transport pods and things like that to just sort of shift and move places more quickly, that definitely seems to be from a system of panic. But then just in any kind of riot sort of situation, you see there's looters and things that are kind of taking advantage of it. They're going into these places that look to be more like a grocery style of deal, and they're coming out with like big baskets of like food and carrying various supplies and things like that. And as they rush out, someone just like trips them and like grabs their basket and like runs away with that. You also notice that inside of the arcade, there are people that are moving about, and like you can see like their heads are occasionally popping out here and there, and then like they're searching. So that's what you'll see, Dr. Sonnet.
The people that are searching, what do they look like?
You can definitely tell that they look similar to the types of people you're seeing outside that are being more violent with like their behavior, but they don't look anything. There's nothing about them that stands out. They're not in uniform. Like they don't look any majorly different way, but you can just see they're just kind of like they're looking around. One of them goes up to what looks like one of these sort of like credit exchange place where you can kind of throw your credit stick in there and you can get like a bunch of tokens for use in the arcade, and they like knock it over, and like one of them is like hacking into what looks like the finances. Like they're literally stealing from the arcade kind of deal. It just looks like people who are taking advantage of the chaos to do a little crime.
With all of this that Dr. Sonnet sees, he would, through the telepathic link, he would be giving the stream of information, probably like too much, as he's just constantly describing so that everyone can hear, specifically through the telepathic link so that Mandy does not hear and get more panicked. But also so like Ray understands, and then Birdie, Arushi, and Reese know what's going on our side as well. I would highlight that there's rumors of an Earth invasion, but it's pure chaos out there, so who knows if that's true. And then the final thing he would say to Ray would be, the arcade's not safe, let's try to find a back door to get Mandy out of here.
Okay. So as you two are like looking for a way out, we cut to Arushi and Birdie, who the capsule is docked. You can see people are getting out, the spiral. Like there's like that annoyance when you're waiting to get off a plane as like the spiral slow stare kind of comes out. The whole way, like Isabel is maintaining a sense of calm. It doesn't look like anyone in here is panicking. Like no one's really looking at their comms. Like you two are honestly the only one who seem a little distraught. Everybody else seems otherwise perfectly fine. So you basically disembark, and Isabella like rushes in, and there's probably one or two other people who are working, but they kind of like are cleaning and checking and kind of the maintenance worker stuff, kind of going through their stuff. And she's just like, if everyone could just come with me this way. And she just starts like pointing out these different things. She like walks people through what looks like just like this main like docking bay. It's you can tell it's rough, it's old. You can see Arushi, especially with your knowledge as like a technician, you can definitely tell like the vibe in here, like the design in here is blocky and old and utilitarian in a way that more modern ships are a little bit more sleek. But it's enormous. It's absolutely enormous. And like there's various signs that have been set up that you can tell are certainly not original signs, but have been placed in certain locations to reinforce the fact that this is a museum. And so you can see like arrows kind of going off in the direction of like that kind of crystal refining section that you mentioned. There's area, and then there's like other places that are going to what looks like, starboard and port viewing sections. And then as she kind of is waving people forward, you can see like above her head in like this now glowing digital line, it says Nexarium. And you can see there's this kind of arched entranceway. And she's like, if everyone could just keep coming, please. Let our technicians are just going to make sure everything's all nice and tidy in there for our trip down in a few hours. So Birdie and Arushi, are you two doing anything, saying anything, communicating to anyone? What do you think?
I think I would approach Isabel and ask her how long exactly is the entire rotation of the tour, and then could we make a quick stop separate of the group in the museum area where you can sleep, just so we can check in and then come like with our family to make sure everything's okay and then come back.
Give me a persuasion test. I'm going to roll over the fact that you had a moment with her. You were able to kind of read an expression, whereas before it looked like she was just confused and not really nervous. Like at some point between then and now, that expression on her face has slightly changed. And when she's like motioning people forward, there's like an urgency in her voice in some ways. Like you can kind of hear as if like she's going through the process of trying to almost do the same thing that old couple was doing with Arushi and distract people to just come, everything's fine. But give me a persuasion test.
Oh, I did performance, my bad. Sorry. Let me do is it persuade or
it's persuasion if you have it. Do you have persuasion?
Okay, I do. Yeah. Sorry. I kept looking at performance. 8 still. Pass.
Okay. That's phenomenal. Okay. That's a raise. So as she like moves everyone through this like bigger hall, you can tell that like she steps off to the side and they start to move into this larger section. It's like a small theater that she's going into, and you can see there's like comfortable chairs. There's some sort of dressed up tech here and there, and you can see like there's like almost like a stage area on one side where these various like hollow emitters, these VR emitters start to shine down onto like the actual stage itself. And it's almost kind of beginning the early credit roll of what apparently is some kind of prepared show that they're about to do. And you realize as you're asking for a place to stand, this is the Nexarium.
Okay.
But then as she kind of pulls you off to the side, as everyone else like, okay, find your seats, everybody, find your seats. Children, there's some specially sized seats over there. Make sure moms and dads, parents, right over here. And then she kind of turns to you. And again, she's got that kind of a little bit of a panicked look. And she says, okay, so before when I said that the everything was fine, apparently the security detail, it might not be a test. They all seem to have been rerouted to the moon of Onyx. Apparently, we're getting, well, the communication with my boss has gone down. I don't know everything. Draxel isn't working, but there's a he said there's an Earth fleet coming, right out of hyperspace, right behind Kaleidoscope. He was saying that like there is no direct evidence. No one's specifically seen it yet, but Edenic authorities, they're acting like they have. It's all, no one really knows anything, he says. It's all just sort of reports. And you can tell she's like starting to panic now. She's like, I don't understand what's happening.
Okay. I'm going to go. My family members on Onyx, and there's looters happening. It's in chaos. I need to go and help move her someplace safe, and then I will be back. Is that okay?
And she's like looking at you like, what? Why are you? And she like fumbles over it as if like, why are you asking her permission? Like that's. My body's going to be sleeping here, is what I'm telling you. She's looking at you, just like, why are you? What? Why?
I don't want my body stuck here when the tour
I can't
ends.
move your body. She starts to say a little bit loud, and someone like looks up. Oh, what's that? What's this little show gonna get started? I have people I need to take care of. If there's something that you need to do, then you go right ahead. But that is your prerogative. We're gonna get started in just one moment. Refreshments? Yes, we get some refreshments. And you can tell like the veneer is starting to fracture a bit. But like you it's you
gonna
realize
be it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Birdie grabs Arushi essentially and separates and goes to
Arushi has been looking for sleeping rooms. She's not involved in this conversation.
So there's plenty of seats. Like there's definitely it's a small group that came up here, and there's more seats. There are plenty of more seats than there are people. So if you're looking for somewhere to leave your bodies, your sleepers, this would be as good a time as any, or as good a place as any.
Perfect. That's what I'd like to make the attempt to do, please.
Okay. There's no attempt. You just do it. So you sit down, and right as you're sitting down, you see like this show whoosh, come on. Like you can see like this pre-planned show. It's got like all this sort of Edenic military, almost sort of advertisements for it, like bringing it up and like our ancestors 300, and like they kind of start this whole history of it. And then the two of you, and where do you appear? Like, are you going to Onyx or are you going somewhere else?
Birdie goes, because we've had open communication, especially being informed that Draxel communication is also being impacted, and she knows that as well from Ray. She's going to check in with Reese to see how that situation's going before she goes to either place.
Okay. We cut to Reese. Reese, since Dr. Sonnet just left, he kept that broadcast signal that's constantly warning you to leave. He kind of kept that down a bit. You haven't yet received any kind of like confirmation from Corporal Handy, and anytime you've tried to like respond to like the Edenic the Edenic signal, it's all just like silence, with the exception of the broadcast. It's just like looping and looping and looping. Give me a electronics test as you start like going through your systems here, kind of trying to see like just exactly what's around you right now. Scanning the area.
See, I rolled 3, but I'll spend a Betty to reroll.
You have like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
You got all the bennies.
I got 3 again.
Oh,
it's only a one-time thing.
No, I think you keep doing it, actually. I think you can burn them all.
All right, let's do it again.
See you pass. Yeah.
You got this.
All right, I rolled
now
crit
you can't.
fail.
Oh no.
Now you can't.
Whoopsies.
Oh.
Yeah, crit fail
Whoops.
stops you.
Whoopsie. Okay. You noticed, like, as you're trying to sort of get a scan around, like you knew that you knew the basic location. Like you kind of pinpointed the signal that Corporal Handy was sending out, and it was kind of near the relay station. And as you go to try to like pinpoint, like, is he in a ship? Is like there a ship over there? He said he was captured in a ship, and you try to find a location of it. all of your scanning systems just completely malfunction. And like you can see, they shut down. You're not sure if you got hit by something, if there's some sort of jamming signals are coming at you, or if Dr. Sonnet like flicked something that he shouldn't have flicked before he ghosted away. But everything's off. Your internal comms, like your comms, the signals suddenly go dark. Your scans suddenly go dark. Like you are literally flying blind right now.
No. This is the old hope here, guys, where I've lost power.
I didn't say power.
Oh,
you're still flying.
I've got dark.
Communications and you're scanning. You're gone dark. Yeah, exactly. You lost your eyes and ears.
You can still get somewhere safe, though, right?
Hopefully I'm not en route to an asteroid or something, but I'll see how it goes.
Be safe.
Okay. So as Reese
do you need me
slowly
to come onto the ship and just kind of help you set up the navigation and stuff, or you got it? Because I'd really like to go check on Mandy.
Rushi, if you can come in and repair something, something's gone faulty.
All right, fine.
Okay. So as Arushi, as you lay back, we'll say, and then or maybe you like materialize really quickly, like, and you just see that Mandy's okay, but you see that Ray is there and Dr. Sonnet is there. Like,
oh, Sonny, I'm so glad you're here.
You say really loud, and that's when you hear like some like, huh? What was that? And then you hear the sounds from Reese needing help as like the eyes and ears aren't working. And Arushi, you immediately pop away and you appear right next to Reese inside of the cockpit of your old hope. Okay, so then Birdie, you had checked in with Reese. Do you do anything else now that you've heard what's happened? Do you go to Ray and Dr. Sonnet? Do you go to Arushi and Reese? What do you do?
For now, since Ray and Sonnet are trying to get out, unless combat happens or they run into danger, she'll go to the ship for now.
Okay, so Birdie follows thereafter. Okay, so I'm going to say for the three of you, Birdie, Reese, and Arushi, your ship is currently malfunctioning. Your communications and your scanners, like your sensors, don't seem to be working. So I'm going to treat this for the three of you like a quick encounter. So what this basically means is that you're all going to contribute to the repair of the ship in some particular way. This isn't a dangerous quick encounter, so like you're not really risking any personal harm. But I will say that like any critical fails during this quick encounter could result in some damage being done to the Old Hope. So effectively what you're doing is each of you are going to in turn to kind of describe what you're doing to try to assist in repairs. You narrate it and they kind of chain one into the other. You make individual checks. And if you're successful, like it's going to you're trying to do this quickly. So it might kind of like, you might suffer some fatigue, but if you get a raise, you're probably fine. If you fail, you could break something. If you critically fail, you could really break something. And so that's kind of where we're at. And that's all it is. And as long as you get a number of successes and raises equal to the number of players involved, in this case 3, you're good to go. Like you're going to repair the ship, everything's going to be fine. If you get fewer than 3, then that could be a problem. Okay. So I would say the 3 of you think about what you're going to use. We won't do it just yet, but this is going on the same time what I'm about to do to Ray and Dr. Sonnet is going on. So the 3 of you are doing that while this happens. Ray, Dr. Sonnet, you hear, what was that? And then you see, like, coming around the corner, there is this fairly large, muscular man with what looks like a kind of shaved head. But as you look a little bit closer, you realize there is like some stubble on it here, but the stubble itself is kind of reflecting. So you think he might have had some kind of implants. But he's kind of like moving around, and you see he's got in his hand just some kind of knife. And then the one that was like the one that you saw, Dr. Sonnet, that was looting, that was kind of hacking into the systems to try to like get all of the money that was being put into the arcade. You see like, huh? And he's like, Jerry, come over here. And you see the other guy starts coming over as well. And so, and if that wasn't enough, you do hear from the far back, like, "Hey, we got some people over here!" Like, and 2 more of these like looters are now coming over. So you guys are starting to get closed on from multiple directions. There's 4 kind of figures. One of them immediately in front of you, a second one very like nearby, and then 2 more a little bit further distance that are starting to close in. So we're going to go into initiative, and then
I see what color their auras are.
What? It is they're red. Okay. So I'm gonna do. Hang on.
That's really off the scale.
All right. Sorry. Let me get this set up. All right. So there's who is it? Ray and Dr. Sonnet.
Just us.
It's okay.
I think it was gonna be combat. I'm sorry. Though
Okay.
I'm not the person you want for combat.
You're
All right.
like the most combatty, I think. Right. So
Okay.
and you've
It's a
got your own
combat.
personal healer, so you're fine.
I do have my own personal healer. This is looking on the bright side.
Yeah.
I actually get 2 cards and get to
lining.
pick from the both of them.
It did. It gave you the.
Oh,
better one.
awesome.
Yeah. That's why you got the ace. Okay. Or you took the king. Doesn't matter. You're still gonna go first
I didn't
either way.
click on anything.
Oh,
I don't
it
know
gave
what that
me
was.
one too. I don't know why.
Well, the initiative order, field scientist, Dr. Sonnet, you're going to get to go first. Then they're going to get to go. And then Ray's going to get to go. That's
Ooh,
kind of where we're
okay.
at. So Dr. Sonnet, you see this guy coming at you, knife in his hand. He just kind of looks like the type of guy who's just really taking advantage of a situation. They're panicking and stuff like that, but you can tell he's not the nicest guy in the world. What do you do, Dr. Sonnet?
We haven't actually gone into a fight yet. I can tell they're closing in. Like,
The guy's got a knife at you and he's coming at you. And he looks down. You can see that there's just Mandy kind of in physical form. And then there's the 2 of you kind of in your sort of blue ghosts or whatever. And you can tell like Mandy probably has like a bag next to her. Like you can see it's her own little bag and she might have some, various things in it, but she looks down. He's like, "What you got in there?" As he kind of looks down. So you can tell he's definitely looking particularly aggressive. Doesn't mean you have to fight him, but you can do
a
whatever you
more
like.
prudent person probably would just start shooting. But I'm honorable. I've got my code of honor, and I'm not going to attack someone for moving in, despite them clearly being a not nice individual. So I would say I would pull my X pistol, like my ghost gun, essentially, and just keep it like low by my side, but it is visible. And I would say, we got a girl and it's her 14th birthday, and we're about to go take her to her surprise party that she's not supposed to know about. So we'll just be leaving out the back. You don't need to have any trouble.
Okay. Give me a persuasion test. A -2. As these guys kind of see a free prize.
That's not good. I'll spend a Benny.
Okay.
No. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
No,
What happened to our
negative
good
2
rolls
turned to
when we
negative
started?
1.
Okay. That's what I
I'm
said
not
was going to happen. You guys are doing all those
Yes.
great rolls, but then the combat stuff's going to happen, and that's when it's going to go bad. And like
Well,
important
you
rolls,
have-
got the crit fail, etc.
-4 happening. Is that?
Yeah, because he's an outsider, right?
Oh, okay.
I am an outsider. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm a
true.
little too clean cut earthling.
Oh.
yeah, when you're dealing with non-earthers in the Han cluster, and I would say he is not an earthling. Okay. All right. So we'll say that's your action. So do you move around or anything like that? We're not going to be.
I would just make sure that I place myself between like this, one who seems like he's the leader, between him and Mandy.
Okay. Sure. So this other guy will step up. So now they're going to go. I'm going to say the 2 in the back are just going to essentially close the distance until they're on you. And so that's what their action is. And now they are within striking distance this round. And you all can feel as Mandy and Ray have been kind of huddled like underneath this sort of large arcade box like in the back of it. And Dr. Sonnet, you've got up and you've looked and peeked and kind of come back. And now at this point, all angles are covered. All ways out from here are essentially covered by one of these folks. Okay, so the first one with the knife is going to step up. He's going to say something to the effect of like, "Oh well, let me be the first to say, happy birthday. Now get out of my way so I can see what goodies she's got in there." And so he's going to like step forward, but since you're in the way, Dr. Sonnet, I'm going to say he's going to go for you. As he's going to sort of step up, he's going to take a swing. I didn't put all of the NPCs in the Foundry, so I have to do it old-fashioned wise. So here we go. And he's going to make an attack. And since this is a melee, the target number he's going for isn't 4. It's whatever your parry is.
5.
Okay, so he's going for a 5. Okay. All right. He rolls a 3. So, Dr. Sun, describe, as he comes in, you step out of the way. He's got the knife. Doesn't look like he wants to hurt Mandy. He really just wants to loot her. He just really wants whatever in her bag. And so, like, what is it you do, did you say, to kind of like interfere with that happening?
He was like stepping in to push past, and I kind of like, if it's not like extremely aggressive, then like he would like try to push me out of the way, essentially like shouldering me, and I would just firmly set myself in the ground and like push him back, essentially, and just holding my ground.
So he goes to step in, and he's like reaching down for it, and you kind of bump into him, and he kind of falls back a little bit. God dang it. You had to go and do that, didn't you? We got ourselves a hero over here. And then you hear the sounds of like another one like rushing around this cabinet, and he's going to lunge at you. And so the second one, the one that was next closest, is going to take a swing at you as well. Okay.
Oh dear. Oh.
And doesn't he have like an outnumbered thing? Oh my God, my Savage World memory is kicking back now because it's 2-on-1, right? Isn't it like a -1 or something?
Hey,
someone in the chat
Look
knows.
it up real quick.
Yep.
Someone in the chat knows. I'm pretty
Gang
sure.
up bonus.
Gang up. That's what it is. So he's like,
Yay,
oh, that's an
okay.
exploder too. Look at that. That's a 4 and a D4.
Oh,
Melissa,
Five.
earlier today you told me there's no flanking.
gang up. It's not a positional
Not
thing.
flanking.
It's just it's
gang
not
up.
flanking. It's
a
the
numbers
amount
game.
of people around you.
It's the same thing. I've been lied to.
That's a 5, and I think that's going to hit you. So you, however, are in ghosted form, which means that the damage against you. I think actually, wait a second. I think he might have a negative to attack you too, right?
It's a -2 to hit and a -4
It's
to
-2
damage.
to hit. Yeah, that's what I thought. So that actually will still miss, because even with your gang up bonus down to like, even with the gang up bonus, he's still going to miss by 1. So he goes to he actually goes, and he's just got something that he grabbed, something heavy, like some big blocky piece of tech that he just happened to pick up from the ground, and he goes to swing it down at you. And as it comes through, like, you're able to, at the last second, move away. You just see this like slow, slight breeze against your shoulder as it just misses you. And then a little bit of your ghost, like your ghost form, just for like the slightest of moments, just kind of like tissue paper, just sort of like tears away with it and then snaps back into place. As there are 2 now that are on Dr. Sonnet. 2 more have now closed the distance. That was their turn. They're not attacking, but they closed from the other side of the arcade, and so now they're in range. And we come to Ray. They're threatening your niece.
Yes.
And they've attacked now.
Ray...
So we've got the moral high ground.
Okay.
It's true.
The first thing that Ray is going to do in sort of the comms with the rest of the group, just sort of with that connection, is going to say like, we might need some assistance here in a minute. And she'll kind of...
That's a shame that they're doing that quick encounter. That's just such a shame.
Because we're like 2-on-4?
Yeah. Unless you wanted to like get Mandy up in this.
No.
Okay.
Just updating everyone on the state of things. So
You got this. You got this.
Ray is definitely going to do an unarmed attack against one of the because
one just has like a knife, and then one has just like some big mechanical block. Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
So I am rolling this.
And you come up behind the one. They stumble back. You charge in with an arm strike as they try to regain their footing after Dr. Sonnet pushed them back. What you got?
Okay, so I rolled a 9.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So they, hold on. Let me get their, I just had their, there it is. So their toughness is 5. So that is definitely a hit. Not only that, let's see. You are ghosted and you are targeting, you're targeting a capped individual.
Someone that's capped, right? So it should just be straight because it shouldn't be a.
Yeah. So the actor target 1 is next base. The actor target 2 is Annie. Yeah. So yeah, you're good. Okay. So that's a raise too, as that's going to be, so you rolled a 9. So that is a raise over their toughness. So you get do your bonus damage. So when you roll damage in Foundry, make sure you hit the raise option.
Okay. I'm trying to. Oh, sorry. I'm hitting the wrong button. There we go. Now I'm actually rolling damage.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's exploding.
God. So much.
Oh my God.
It's 22. It's 22 points damage. Describe how you just obliterate this guy. You don't have to kill him, but like you completely take him out as he stumbles back and he steps back up, getting ready to come back into the fight. What does it look like when Ray takes him out?
So Ray had been, kind of knelt down a little bit, kind of doing the breathing, kind of holding Mandy's hand, kind of doing the breathing. And so you just kind of see, I'm almost going to say it's like just this upward thrust where she'd kind of been crouched down, breathing. And then just sort of like as she stands up, she's just sort of like comes up with all of this force with this just like uppercut under this guy's jaw. And it's like, you need to find somewhere else to be. And he like the force of your strike lifts him up, and you can see his eyes go wide, and you hear like a crunch as you like kind of catch him like right in the chest, and he goes flying back. He gets kind of caught up on one of these tall kind of server towers that starts tipping back and crashes into one of the planes of glass that kind of covers this side of the arcade, and he just falls down like pinned by this thing, and he is out. Completely out. Wow. Phenomenal. Okay. And she just gets that look on her face. Like in the aftermath, she's just like, she's not moving, but she's looking at all of the rest of them. Like there's more where that came from.
And that is amazing. I'll tell you what, like free action because of how amazing that roll. Give me an intimidation roll.
Hell yes.
Okay. I am surprisingly not particularly good at intimidation, but
is anyone really intimidated by Keanu Reeves? No, not at all. I'd have a beer with him, hang out with him. He seems like a cool dude, but it doesn't scare me.
I failed. I rolled a 3.
Okay. I would say, okay, so they're going to like, not yet. Like you can definitely tell there's some hesitation, like, and they realize maybe you're the danger. Let's go to the next round. New draw. Let's see. All right. So it looks like, field scientist gets a new one. There we go. And then, all right. So the first up, they get to go first. Actually, they got the 10. You guys got an 8 and a 3. Okay. So there's only 3 left. The one with the big block, I'm going to say he's going to swing back down on Dr. Sonnet. There's no reason not to. He's right next to Dr. Sonnet. That's another exploder. 6 this time. But we said he's got the penalty, right? Because he is capped. He's targeting Ghostless. -2. So it's going to be a 4.
Parry is 5.
Your parry. All right. And he misses again.
Nice.
And you is maybe you just move faster? Or what do you think it is that's making it so hard for him to hit you?
Yeah, I don't think Dr. Sonnet is necessarily like a quick or graceful person, but the ghosts are described as being like slippery and spongy in a way. So I think he's really just kind of like angling himself that the hits just kind of like glide and just slide off instead of really connecting.
Okay. And then the other two that came in will see you kick their friend and kind of send him flying through a plain glass window, and they're going to close on Ray. So the first one's going to go up there normal. That's a miss as he rolls a 2. Second one's going to come in, and this time he's going to have the gang up bonus. Okay. That's going to be a total of 6. As I keep rolling, I rolled a 4, and then I rolled a 1 afterwards. It's so annoying. It's disappointing.
So my parry is a 6.
Okay, so meets it, hits it. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Again, I keep forgetting the -2. It's a 4 again. It's a 6 minus 2. It's 4. So again, he comes up, swings at you, misses. Okay. Then it comes to you, Dr. Sonnet. One of these guys has been taken out. 2 of them
I would pull
on Ray.
My X pistol, and I would fire probably the one who's trying to be punching at me. Do I have like a penalty for shooting at someone in melee? Is that a thing?
I think it depends on the type of gun. I'm trying to remember my Savage Worlds days.
I'm sorry, I should have looked it up.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I want to. For some reason, I think it's like if it's a handgun, I think you're okay. Unless I'm thinking of a different game. Again, Chad will probably correct us in a second.
Oh, and Tracy's in the chat saying that if the looters use their fists, they would not have a minus on the attack.
Then that did hit. Okay.
Then it did hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pistols can be used in melee, but they go against parry instead of the target number 4.
That I remember that now. Okay, so that did hit against you, Ray. Okay, so actually, let me roll damage then.
Fair.
All right, so it's not like I have a ton of damage here to hit, so I think you're still okay. Well, then I go ahead and I explode.
Did you explode?
And I exploded again.
Oh dear.
9 total.
Okay, so my toughness is 5. Am I doing that right? Now I've got to remember actually taking damage, applying damage.
Right. So the first, okay, you can do it mechanically in the Foundry, but you have 5, right? Like that's what you had. And I rolled a 9.
So my toughness is 5.
You're going to be shaken, and you're going to take 1 wound because I hit your toughness, and I have a raise over top of it. So the first thing is going to make you shaken, and the second thing is going to give you a wound. You can, however, spend a Benny to soak if you want to try to soak that.
Oh, that's right. I already spent a Benny earlier, but that's a lot. So
we're 2 hours in. There's not a whole lot of time left in this session.
This is true.
Bennies go away at the end of the session.
So
all those extra bennies,
Benny.
long gone.
And then I'm rolling vigor to try to soak.
That's correct.
Which is a D6 for me.
Oh man, look at you.
And I did.
Okay. Got
it.
So because that's a success, you roll a 7. So a 7 is going to be a success. That's going to soak the wound. And because it soaks all of the wounds you would have taken, it also is going to remove the shaken. So he hits you. I'm going to say he does hit you. He makes contact with you. But again, how is it you say like you managed to sort of shake it off, so to speak?
I would say with her kind of monk nature, I would say she sort of has that, kind of like, is it kind of Tai Chi where it's sort of that, like you just sort of go with, whatever. So if someone's, kind of hitting in your direction, you kind of move with it, and then you kind of don't really take it as much.
Okay, I like it. So like he makes the contact, but you kind of pull that with you, and so the momentum is like he still has it. He still makes contact, but it's not so much that it actually harms you. Okay. Then it will go to Dr. Sonnet's turn. Then back to Dr. Sonnet.
All right. And since we figured it out, I will be using my pistol against them, going towards their parry.
They have a 42 parry.
Well, I've rolled a 4.
4 is enough. They do have a parry of 4.
Okay. So just damage then.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 7 damage.
Okay, 7 damage is not enough to get a raise, but it does exceed their toughness 1. So these guys are extras basically. So when they take, when they take 1 wound, I'm trying to remember, man, look this stuff up and then you forget everything. All right.
Sorry, say that loud again.
Actually, I have GM bennies. I'm gonna roll it. I'm gonna use a GM Benny to soak.
There you go. Benny's.
It's a coherent argument.
Actually, I think that was
Gotta
just
use
shaken.
'em.
Never mind. You don't have a raise. You only rolled 7, so just shake. It's just shaken. My bad. I don't even need to do that.
Okay.
I'm just shaking. Okay.
But
All
they
right.
do go down when they take a wound, Jeff. Tracy said.
When they take a rune, an extra does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they become incapacitated. Yeah. Okay. Ray, you've taken one out. 2 more. You've sort of dodged out of the way of another. It's your turn. Dr. Sonnet just fired a shot. Kind of got a guy, but he definitely it was definitely a graze. It didn't seem to really sink in. He managed to turn the gun at the last second in a way, just kind of made contact, so it didn't hit any super sensitive area. Ray, what do you got?
So Ray has faith in Dr. Sonnet, so Ray is going to go over to the other one.
What's the other one? There's two on you and 1 on him.
Oh, okay, sorry, that's right. So one of the ones on me. Sure. The one that has the kind of makeshift weapon up in the air.
Gotcha. Well, actually, no. That one's attacking Dr. Sonnet. The 2 that are attacking you they're just throwing fists.
Okay, then I will do one of those, and I'm going to try a kick this time for flavor.
Okay.
So let's see what I get for this. I got 6.
6 will hit for sure. Yeah. Roll your damage.
Good. Rolling damage.
And don't forget, you can spend bennies to roll damage as well if you wanted to do that.
Let's see what I get. I got 10 for damage.
Okay. Describe how you take this one out.
Nice.
So I'm going to say she had, kind of did kind of an uppercut with the first one. So she's going to do kind of a bit of a roundhouse kick at this one. So kind of center mass is kind of what she's doing with this one.
Okay. All right.
It's awesome.
So as you just spin around, you duck underneath the swing of one of them, and then you continue the swing in the duck as your leg comes up, and the one that you hit doesn't even see it coming, and you hear as his jaw is clearly cracked. You see a tooth go flying, and then his body follows in the direction of where the tooth flies, and he just lands after spinning in the air 2 or 3 times right onto the ground, and you can tell motionless.
We thought this was Matrix Keanu, but clearly it's John Wick Keanu.
Yeah.
And so Ray,
the other 2
again, is going to do what she did the last time, where she does that damage and then she looks to the other one for what it's worth of just kind of
Yeah. The 2 of them, the 2 that are still standing that are up, the one on Dr. Sonnet, one in it, and then they run. You can see they just do and they start to run away. And then they stop for a second at an intersection and they look like they're going to go this way or that way. And they're not sure where to go. And then they look over their shoulders and they continue to run. Do you guys let them run? You let them flee?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I would agree with that.
They start fleeing. And then you hear underneath coming out of that little cubby hole where she was hiding. Damn, Ray. She's super impressed as there's 2 dudes laying on the ground. Can you teach me how to do that?
Maybe when you're 16, but I'm glad you're safe.
And then we're going to cut
Remember, we only hit bad people.
Then we're going to cut out of there as that happens. And we're going to go back to the ship where we see Birdie and Reese and Arushi are scrambling around trying to figure out what the hell just went wrong. Nothing's working. The sensors aren't working. You can't tell where, what direction you're traveling. You can't tell if you're going towards the signal that's saying it's a hostile action. You can't tell. You can't fix your position. You can't scan for other ships. Your communications aren't working. Nothing's working. So quick encounter. So again, each of you just basically describe something you're doing. Obvious things like repair, electronics, those are probably really good stuff to roll, but I'm obviously open to other more creative solutions. Who would like to go first? We don't have to draw for this since it's not a dramatic test.
I can go first because I'm doing something very straightforward, which is just to try and either repair or electronics to get the visual, the radar back up so that we have eyes.
Do you have I think either one of those is fine. So if one's better than another, just definitely roll that.
They're both D8 plus, I'll do repair.
Okay, repair. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you kind of rip a panel out from underneath one of the consoles, and you just climb down underneath, and you start kind of pulling out wires and reconnecting them.
I'm gonna spend a penny to reroll that.
Yeah, 5. It's a pass, but you probably could do better with your stats.
I'd like to try to do better.
Mm-hmm.
So
just
is this next tech? Because if it's next tech,
No.
I get a free roll. Okay.
No, this is just basic computer.
Sweet.
Same roll. You want to do it again?
You're destined for
another
five.
Benny?
Yeah, sure. Why the fuck?
We're pretty
not?
close to the end
Oh,
here. We're
gosh.
2
Yeah,
hours in.
yeah.
We're getting
Why
in here soon.
not? What am
Do
I?
it.
Oh gosh.
Fucking,
Don't
my
do it long,
rolls
Dad.
have been
Critical fail.
so
Critical
bad,
fail.
like
Critical
across every single fucking game, man. I can't roll.
You
for shit,
passed
man.
twice. You're fine. Go ahead.
Whatever.
And you take the best of all rolls too, right? So as long as you don't crit fail,
I'm so
you're
glad I
This is a
rolled
critical
the
fail.
same thing twice.
yeah.
Then.
All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh. It happened. It happened.
You don't.
like, Trey, why'd you do that?
It's a
Oh,
critical
Because
fail.
I hate you,
Steven.
Steven. I did it because I hate you.
Okay.
My
right.
body is on that ship.
As you're pulling these different wires and reconnecting, you pull the wrong thing. You absolutely pull the wrong thing. There is some kind of internal klaxon that goes off all of a sudden, and you realize like you're not exactly sure what you did, but you somehow disconnected the helm from the like your engine drive, and you've lost actual control of the ship. Not that you knew where you're going to begin with, but now you can't. So you're blind. You can't. You're deaf. You can't hear. You can't see. And now, even if you could, you can't control as you have disconnected essentially the helm from that screen. So I'm going to say this is going to be a wound that the ship is going to take. The ship actually has stats. I'm going to give it, since it's a critical fail.
Shit.
I'm going to roll a d4 for a number of wounds. They're going to have 2 wounds. And so I'm going to say, like, narratively, it's the helm control. Suddenly, Reese, you realize, like, even if you wanted to control the ship, like, nothing's responding. Okay. So as that's happening, Birdie and Reese, what did the two of you do in this case?
We all make mistakes here, Arushi, but it's nothing we can overcome.
And then the ship explodes. All right, Reese, what you up
She
to?
gives you a grateful smile.
Oh my God, I can't believe it happened. That's so cool.
I'm thinking of like retracing some of the steps, like some knobs and switches we accidentally pulled, trying to get an idea of what happened.
Okay. What skill are you thinking? Electronics would be good for that. Repair obviously would be good for this. What else you got? What does Reese have?
I've got notice. I've got electronics.
Okay.
And Reese
I think
also has Ace, which can actually soak damage to a vehicle.
Oh, sweet.
Oh yeah, I
you
could
want
have
to do
done
that?
Yeah, so
you
let's
still can.
see.
You still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, as an ace pilot
Oh,
You can,
nice.
has affinity
spend
to their
money
plane
to soak
or vehicle.
damage.
I could
Okay.
spend a Benny.
Okay.
Hell yes.
I still have
So,
the.
ignore 2 points. So aces are pilots who have specific affinity to the car boat.
I roll piloting
Roll-
instead of vigor.
Right. You roll piloting instead, and then each success and raise negates a win. Okay. So yeah, go ahead, spend your Benny, roll piloting.
Oh, that's a good
All right,
one.
that is
6.
That's a
Oh,
success.
that's awesome.
So that's 1 success, which means you'll soak 1 of those wounds. So it'll just be 1 wound going to the ship.
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
And then I'll
All
roll
right, so, like-
electronics. as
So
well.
maybe as you see like the helm control start to veer off, like you can see what's happening, and like you kind of get some sort of backdoor, some sort of fail safe. It's not like the controls are really sluggish all of a sudden. So if you really need to do any kind of tight maneuvering, it'd be difficult, but you haven't lost it completely. So there's some basic connection left. And then go ahead and give me that roll to proceed with the quick encounter here.
Oh, looks good as well. 5.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
That is a success. I'm not saying this to bait you. I'm saying this just to lay the ground out, because there's one more person to go in this quick encounter. That's Birdie. You all need 3 successes to succeed at this encounter. If you fail, you're basically going to suffer some kind of setback. Time could be a serious issue. It could be, you could get intercepted. Lots of things could potentially damage to the ship. So between the two of you, you need to get 3 successes. And by that is like you both need to succeed, and at least one of you has to have a good enough roll that you get a raise, because a raise will also count. So do you want to, are you happy with the 5? Do you want to try to spend any more of your bennies? Or do you want to
I love that roll. A 5 is good.
Okay. Birdie's got tons of bennies. Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right, linked machine. What are we doing?
So I also have electronics and I also have
like
repair.
Okay. Let's do it.
So yeah, they're the same. So I'm gonna rip electronics.
Do it. Sounds good. Okay. So as Arushi is trying to destroy the ship from the inside, you are quickly trying to erase her mistakes.
Oh, I don't want to see.
Ooh, explode.
Okay.
10.
Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect.
There
Okay.
you go.
Oh,
You hear
fucking
the
God for you guys.
My heart
the
hurts.
Yeah, me
klaxons
too.
going off, and you manage. So Birdie, you're in the systems, like you're probably at the console trying to like kind of reroute certain powers, like bypass some of the damage that has happened. Like there might be kind of a sort of a blown capsule here or there somewhere in the, like you have to dig into it later and figure it out. But you reroute some stuff, and suddenly bzz, everything kind of lights back up. You start to hear that repeating message that Reese and Dr. Sonnet first discovered, which was sort of like this threatening thing saying it's the Edenic security force at Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, all that's going through any attempted approach will be interpreted as hostile. Like, you haven't been fired upon, though. And maybe underneath it, you once more hear like that same loop from the corporal one as well. Birdie, you rolled a 10, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Did you roll electronics?
I rolled electronics, yeah.
Okay. As the console kind of lights back up, you notice that Dr. Sonnet had been, maybe you're at the same console he was at, like you're kind of leaning over top of him, like as he's still leaning back in his chair. And you see like he and Reese were sort of like trying to pinpoint where this sort of signal was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize as things loop back up, you look down at your sensor array. You can see kind of blipping up. There is a ship that is very, very near the Draxel array. And it seems to be right around in that kind of general direction that other sort of stealth signal is coming from. And you see it like pop up for like the briefest of seconds and then disappears, which you realize means it's a ship that probably has very advanced stealth capabilities. But something you did in that quick moment as the scanners came right back on and then sort of shut back down, you kind of got a quick idea of where that ship, those signals, both of those signals might be originating from. So as the ship starts to come back from its damaged repair, we see the 3 of you like come out from underneath. Some of you kind of in your ghost forms. Reese still capped in his physical body. We see the body of Dr. Sonnet, his sleeper, off in the chair. We cut over to Onyx, where we see Ray and Dr. Sonnet helping Mandy up out from underneath and like peeking out to these crazy streets and kind of picking your time to leave the arcade and try to find a way back. You hear the sounds of people shouting about an imminent Earth invasion. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut it there for our first session. And we'll pick it up on that next week.
Awesome.
I had some
Yay.
This is
That
cool.
was great,
Fun.
guys. That was great.
Ton of fun.
I'm
Oh my
so
God.
sorry.
We thought it was
I
great.
started it.
Yeah, you did. You did. That was so funny.
You're just
Oh my
going with
God.
the flow.
I can't believe you rolled a critical fail. That's so funny.
No. I
So funny. Oh goodness. That was on a D8 too. It was a D8 and a D6. Oh god. And you have a +2 on it too. So it's like, this is your role. This is your jam. You should be so good at this. Oh,
this
goodness
is my
gracious.
highest stat. My highest stat is here.
Sometimes, sometimes things don't work too well. All right. So that's it. We're going to be playing this for a bit. We're going to do the jumpstart, I think is the plan. And I think we're probably going to do at least one more after that. So we're probably going to be playing it for at least, 4 or 5 weeks or so. So we're going to be back next week. We're playing some more of this. I'll drop some links in the description. If you end up catching this later on VOD, or if you listen to this on podcast version, just check the description. I'll have the links to all of the stuff if you want to kind of follow the backer kit, if you want to read up more about the system, if you want to get the jumpstart, that kind of stuff. So we're going to do some quick closing plugs, and then we're gonna get on out of here. I'm going to toss it over, not to Steven, because that would be crazy. I'm going to toss it to Maitreyi. Maitreyi, who are you, and what is it that you do on the internet other than playing games with us?
Well, when I'm not destroying ships from the inside, I am My Surprise Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system tabletop content that centers the GM and player experience that you should check out if you feel like checking that kind of thing out.
Fan-freaking-tastic. Now I will go ahead and throw it over to Steven. So Steven can tell us what he does, not just on the internet, but just in the physical world as well. What do you do?
Well, actually, it is on the internet. It's digital only. It's a game called Huckleberry.
I have the physical.
That's
copy
a very promotional, limited copy available to people
Melissa's
who
got
worked
one
on
too
the
that
games.
she's holding up.
That was a promotional Gen Con copy. She didn't work on the game, so she didn't get the hardcover. But yeah, it's a Weird West game. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out, huckleberryrpg.com. We've got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. We've got a new scenario coming out next week. Our scenario that came out last month, Veils and Vengeance, is available now. Links on the website.
Fantastic. As for us here at Adventures Lollygagging, we play a lot of games on the internet. We stream most days of the week. Our next one is Monday. We're going to be playing some Otherscape. So if you like Mythos Cyberpunk, we've been doing that for a couple weeks now. A lot of fun. Tuesday, our friend Kipser, she's running us through some perils and princesses. So we're playing as princesses who are in some real serious peril. It's like really serious peril. I don't think Kipser likes princesses because she's keep putting us in peril.
She loves peril.
She really does. She loves them more than princesses. Thursday next week, we're going to be doing Swords of the Serpentine. If you're familiar with Pelgrane Press's kind of sword sorcery gumshoe system, I love that game. We've been having a ton of fun with it on Thursdays. And next Friday, our friend Aaron runs us through some Dragonbane. And then on Saturday, we'll be back for more Han Cluster. So Han Cluster is on the schedule for the next month or so, I think. So come back and hang out with us then. Thank you, Tracy. I know you've been hanging out in the chat, correcting and offering some insight. We definitely appreciate it. And thank you for letting us play this game a little bit earlier, maybe than some other people are going to play it. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and raid. Who are we gonna raid? Our friend Boys from the Back Star up. Let's do that. They're playing a cozy murder mystery set in Middle England. So that sounds like half of my Netflix to watch list. So let's go ahead and follow them. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.